This is part 2 of our conversation with Rachelle.
I guess I can't really rate anything good or bad. So a few of my experiences, when you're in the COC, you see everything. There's cameras everywhere in Helmand province. So you'd have, based on the type of movement, or I don't know if somebody was selecting the cameras. I don't know. I don't want to know. But I saw so many Afghanis fucking goats. It's unreal. It almost you became accustomed to it. In dogs, the dogs that roam around, and then you'd be outside of the wire and you'd see these animals. There's actually a picture of me. And if you go through my feed and there's like this horde of goats going down the road and I'm like pointing at them or something like that. Literally in my head, I was thinking like of these like 50 goats that are in this group, I bet you every single one of them had been molested at some point. And I probably watched most of it.
Oh my God.
So,
OnlyFans.
I mean, almost daily. And I don't know who made the decision of what we were watching because you only have so many screens and Helmand province is huge. And I don't know where all the cameras were. But it was like they wanted to watch it where it was like, I don't know, like a news, you don't even pay attention. Oh, that guy's fucking a goat again.
I mean, it's like driving past a car crash. It's like you don't want to look, but you can't look away.
You can't stop watching it.
Yeah,
you can't stop watching it because it's so, I wouldn't say it's accepted because of the ones that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
They would always be hidden, and they'd always, when they're doing something very wrong, because they're looking around constantly. I'm very thankful that I didn't see anything out of animals, as if that's bad enough. But I know you as a vet understand how bad it could get of what they're actually penetrating. And I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, you just
that I didn't see anything outside of goats and dogs.
God. Oh my God. I had never seen that actually. And I'm fortunate because so what you said, the COC, so I think we called that the talk. We had a raid camera, which was a tower about 100 feet and had cameras on it. But the fob closest to us had a giant blimp thing, and apparently that could spot a mouse from a mile away. Was that kind of like what you were working with?
I honestly don't know about the camera system because I was so focused. So I had to read the wire to watch. Do they call it SIPR freeways? SIPR is the secure feed.
Yeah.
Yep. So I had to watch the SIPR line just to not only watch our own troops that are a part of our unit, but then any units that were a part of Helmand province, because I was on directly under 2nd MEF.
Yeah.
Which again, from the structure standpoint, is 2nd MEF is I don't know what it is. It's big.
Yeah.
But a lot of units fall under 2nd MEF. So anything that was coming through the wire, I had to be watching. So I wasn't a part of the videos, but they have it. So if you're in a COC, it's literally just a ton of screens with videos and Blue Force trackers, actually tracking convoys as they're going. And you just look up and be like, oh, that guy's fucking a goat again. So
it's like a literal command center. And then, so what was it like the first time you saw a guy fucking a goat? I mean, you're in there, you're doing some of your administrative logistics style work. I mean, what was that like?
Very serious stuff, right?
Was it at night too? That's the other thing. Yeah.
Was it what?
Was it at night? I feel like it would be at night.
No, it was during the day.
Okay.
I did. So you switch shifts. Because for those that don't know, when you deploy, you work 7 days a week, long days. And so they would switch us. Anybody that was in the COC, you'd get different shifts. So I got night shift and I got day shift, and it's all the time. It's all the time.
Jesus.
They got a lot of banging to do, and they
Yeah.
love those goats. But the dogs, I'd say I saw more dogs
That
than
sounds
goats,
horrible.
honestly.
The dogs, for some reason, thinking about a dog just getting molested is more disturbing than the goat.
Oh, well, I mean, it's all pretty terrible, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
God.
I get what you're saying. And those dogs are like so mangy and not
Yeah.
what we're used to in the
Yeah.
US at all. Like I'm scared of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Of the dogs that free roam. They're quite terrifying looking.
It's so funny. We did this vehicle patrol base, so we did like this operation or whatever, and in this shitty, not shitty combat area. Actually, nothing happened, but it was shitty because there's no shade. The sun's beating on us for 2 weeks, and we set up this like 360 perimeter with trucks or whatever, and a bunch of these like mangy wild dogs came up to us, and they loved us. Like, they loved the Americans, and like we would also give them food and shit. And
having sex with them.
yeah, and we also weren't having sex with them. Like, they weren't traumatized by Americans. And like, but the thing they became, and this is so primitive sounding, but like, they became, anytime someone who wasn't in our group would come up, like say it was an Afghan from, like a civilian Afghan, they would bark. They would bark. Like, they wouldn't go to attack, but they would bark, and they'd kind of make a big stink about it. And it was almost like a threat detection system, which I thought was awesome. And I have pictures of these dogs on my Facebook, and like, they were mangy as shit. But we drove away. So when the 2 weeks were up, man, we were just destroyed. Like, I didn't sleep at all, windburn, and we're driving away, and I look behind us, and I look behind the convoy, and there's just all these little shit Afghan kids who I love, but also are little shits at the same time, go up and just start throwing rocks at the dogs and stuff, and I just felt bad. But and the dogs ran away.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah. So yeah. So, God, I guess I'm fortunate I didn't see anybody fuck a dog there.
I'm very happy for you. Trust me, I have enough for both of us.
Thank you. Okay.
Or I would say all of America.
Yeah.
I have enough watching that then, because I don't like watch it like after a while. I mean, at first you horror. Like, am I really watching this?
Yeah.
But then after a while, you're just like, oh, there's another guy.
Oh, God.
And not to ever, I will say in their defense, not that there should ever be a defense. I don't know how to properly word this, but
well, they're not allowed to fuck each other, so yeah.
Wait, what was that?
I was saying that, well, I mean, they're very culturally repressed or suppressed. I don't know what the right word is, but they got to let it build up sexuality, like you're saying.
I don't want any part of this to say I condone that. But to your point, their culture they are very suppressed from that standpoint, and I'm a true believer men are men, and no matter what your culture is, no matter what your religion is, you have a biology. And and in their culture, one of the things that always shocked me is, so they have full burqas, right? The females have full burqas, and you usually do questions ahead of time because they only want you to see the woman for as long as you need to, which is literally like, let me ask you all your questions and then we'll take your burqa off and we'll search you, right? And so you ask all the basic questions like her name and all that stuff, and then her age. And at that point, I was 21 years old. So I had a pretty good idea of what a 21-year-old looked like. And, a lot of people that I looked like or I served with were about that age. And they would be like, oh, yeah, she's 20, she's 21, 22. And she lifted up her burqa. And every single time, no matter how many females I saw, she'd lift up her burqa and I'd be like, she's 40. And that's because they live such a difficult life such a freaking difficult life. And not that that's an excuse, like my whole story, trying to make this into a circle without saying I condone any of that. Um, they all live lives that we will never comprehend. And when you're there and you see the lives that they live, your brain has a hard time processing it. Like when you're out in the mud huts, um, you stand there in pure amazement, because it's like stepping back in time. They don't know a world exists outside of that mud hut, and here we come with our nice, all this gear and stuff like that. So again, I'm not condoning anything, but it's a culture, it's a lifestyle that we will never comprehend, and I've always had an appreciation for that. So I try to be very sensitive to that as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, yeah, that's 100% true. I have a million stories about that. Like, I remember walking in metal detecting. We did we were looking for a weapons cache or whatever, and we went into this person's house, and the women had to go into the room. And I remember walking with this metal detector, and the room, they don't have electricity, so there was no lighting. And I walk into this very dark room, and I was like, it smells like shit and ammonia in here. And I'm also stepping in something strange, and I put the flashlight out, and I realized I'm stepping in like their bathroom, which is just a room where they shit. And I was like, fuck, I've just stepped on so much human feces. And I'm kind of a germaphobe as it is, so I was like, shit, I gotta wash this off my boots. But that just kind of shows, like, it's something that we are so, like, privileged in this country. Like, it's so, we can't grasp it. We can't grasp it.
You
like,
can't.
I've stepped in shit there, and I just can't grasp it.
It's not for us to judge. That's their culture, and we inserted ourselves in that, and we have a tendency to, push for westernized culture, and it'll never happen. And I feel like a lot of people understand that, but that's not the point I'm trying to make there. I've always tried to be sensitive. Like, so they don't believe in sanitary napkins or diapers or anything like that.
Really?
And I'm sure a lot of women could appreciate this, that when you're searching a woman, she will not let go of the child, because it's not the father's responsibility to take care of a toddler or an infant or anything like that. And I don't know, maybe they have something cloth on there, but whatever they have does not work, because I've been pissed on, I've been shit on by little kids that are being held by their mothers that will not let go because they can't. They're not supposed to.
Right.
And as much as that sucks, like, that is their culture. So I was never angry about it, because they happen all the time. Like, basically, if I saw a child, I'm like, oh, damn it,
Yeah.
so get shit on or pissed on.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the way it is. That's their culture, and it's not for us to judge.
Yeah, I love that point, because they attach morality differently than we do. Like, we attach so much morality to things like our roles and stuff like that, and I think it can be a little stupid at times. I mean, and so it's just different in Afghanistan, and they're happy too. It's like, and it proves a lot to me. I mean, it's like they're happy doing. I'm sure their suicide rate is way lower than the United States, and I'm just like, it just goes to show something fundamental about humans as a species. It's like, you don't need all this material shit, even though I'll go out and buy it. But yeah, it says something. I don't know what it is. It says something about humans, and it's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel very defensive in that. It's almost like if you say you had kind of a soft spot for them. I really did have a soft spot for the people that weren't a part of the insurgency. If you look at the history, and I'm a history nerd.
Yeah.
If you look at the history of Afghanistan, and I don't know as much from Iraq, to be very transparent, but if you look at the history, their lives are just turmoil, and they do really live these lives where they don't know much outside of survival and their tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have a tendency, and we have for hundreds of years, not just pinpointing Afghanistan, but we have a tendency to try to force civilian culture, or civilian, Western culture.
Yeah.
And it's so entirely different. It would never work. Never in a million years. These guys live their lives out of fear. And so no matter how different we were, I remember standing there, like, if I was ever outside the wire, and just like take it all in, because you'll never experience anything like this. Mm-hmm. Never in a million years will you be a part of anything like this. And I tried to. I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I mean, they still shoot guns at each other over their tribal or property disputes, or territory disputes, I should say. And it's like, it's just, once again, not attaching morality to it. It's just different than what we understand. And so, yeah, 100% agree. I mean, and yeah, it's
But
crazy.
Can I get on something funnier?
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that.
This has gone deep and dark.
Yeah, let's do that.
Not deep and dark, but something that's sensitive, and I don't want to offend anybody. Just my own personal experience. But I do have some not funnier stories, but like what kind of stories?
Yeah.
So can I say those?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I used to serve with somebody, he who shall not be named. He was the biggest, not sexist. Why can't I think of the term? Any woman he'd go after. Doesn't matter. Womanizer, I guess. Not womanizer, because not a lot of women went after him.
Like a horn dog, like a... Yeah, it's not like he's necessarily degrading them, but he just wants to have sex, right? Or is that what the point you're trying to get across?
He would go after any woman, whether he'd have sex or not. Like, he would be overtly masculine, like to the point where it was sexist, but it was different. I mean, I've experienced sexism, and it was different, and I could never put my finger on it. So whatever the term is, let us know. But so he was a part of my unit the whole time I was out there. We've either served on the same hours, or we were, opposite, where I'd be handing off to him. And I always knew, actually, one time there was a very important logistical matter going on, and I had worked all day, and then because I had worked on it all day, I wanted to check and make sure everything was good at night. And I came in there, and I never told a soul this, but have you ever heard of spice?
Yes, I've smoked it once.
Okay.
In the military.
Well, he smoked it religiously. Yeah, he smoked it religiously. Uh-huh. And at night, like much like everything else, at night things are more lax, and there's less higher ups in there. And I remember walking in there, and he was just high as a kite. And he was watching The Simpsons. Like, you're supposed to, again, you're in the COC, you're watching that wire, you're watching Blue Force trackers, everything. That's your responsibility. And he was just so high that he had no idea what was going on. So I never said anything, but that always stuck in my head. And then one day, so you stayed, or at least when I was in Leatherneck, you stayed in what's called a can, which is like an upscale ISO container. And it was really late at night, and all of a sudden I just had pounding on my door. And so I go and open it, and it's NCIS. And they say, as you are, you woke up, come get your ass out here, you're standing in formation. So your mind, it's kind of like when your mom yells at you, you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
I work with a lot of secure things. I felt like I was very secure in everything I did. Never, did anything wrong, but it's kind of like when your mom yells at you, uses your middle name, you're like, oh my God, like I fucked up big time, right?
Yeah.
Well, then my whole platoon, like not my platoon, my shop was in this formation, okay? And they stood in front of us and they said, every single person from this shop is going to have what's called a health and comfort, which is the military's, what is the prison when they tear apart your room? What is that called? Is that a health and comfort?
I don't know what the name for that is.
Well, it's the same damn thing.
But I definitely know what you're talking about.
Yes, a health and comfort is where they have, you are military property, so whatever they want to do, they will do to you. So they're going to tear your shit apart like they would if you're in prison. Can we really appreciate the health and comfort? Okay. They go through everything, every single thing, right? So we're all standing in formation and this is like at 03 in the morning, and you got to get to work at 08, and again you don't ever not work. So you're tired, you're angry, you have no idea what's going on, and you have somebody that's tearing through everything, and you automatically, at least I did, thought it was me. I'm the reason why. I don't know why we're here, but it's me. I did something wrong. Whatever. So we were there for about 45 minutes. And then finally my chief warrant officer comes up and he goes, well, I can tell you it's none of you. So okay. And also nothing was found in your rooms. So you can go back. Well, this chief warrant officer was very chatty, not just like me, because I'm a female, literally anybody. And the story goes, and it's not a story because I actually saw the charges. So that Marine that I was talking about that was overtly flirtatious to any female, they actually found a brick of heroin in his government vehicle because his responsibility was, we had local nationals, they called them LNs, that would clean out the porta shitters.
Yeah.
And his responsibility was to escort them every single day. So they are local nationals. They leave the base, they come back on, they get searched by him. So they would have bricks of heroin and they would bring it onto base. And I don't know what he was doing, if he was selling it to people, I have no idea. But he had left a whole entire brick in the government vehicle that he had assigned only to him. It was in his name. That's what he did to escort the LNs around. So they searched his stuff. They found that he was repeatedly ordering spice. So that was the first thing that kind of tipped him off. But then when this heroin thing happened, it was like they had full rights to do everything. And when they searched his room, they found, this is per my chief warrant officer's words, they found a rubber butt, like a man rubber butt. They found a dildo that was like this big around.
No.
Like massive. And then a ton of gay porn.
No.
Full circle. Full circle. That's where I was going with it. He was just overtly like masculine, never degrading. I would never say that about him. He never made me feel bad or anything, but he was so flirtatious with anything that came across his path that had a vagina. And they found like mass amounts of gay porn in there. To each their own. No judgment.
Yeah.
But that just blew my freaking mind. You have a brick of heroin. You think this is going to end well? It will not end well. But then you have a collection of gay porn.
Oh my
with
God.
a plastic butt and a dildo that's like this thick. Glad I got that off my chest.
My God. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't even know what to say.
Needless to say, he is dishonorably discharged from the Marine Corps. Not to laugh about that. But can we talk about the dildo? Because that was something that my chief warrant officer like really focused on. Like the size of it. Which male, female, like to me there's a point where it's just not okay.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
so my chief warrant officer, the reason why I trust him, aside from I actually saw the documents of what they found and stuff like that, but before I even saw those, and I can't say how I saw them, but I saw them. He was just blown away by this. Like, why would you even possess this? You can't use it on a human being, or can you? I don't know. But that's what blew his mind. Like, this thing was fucking this thing.
so I could see your hands when you try to show the circumference, but what are we talking here, comparison wise? We talking like a cucumber? Like a large cucumber?
No.
Bigger?
Do you see this?
Jesus Christ, it's a goddamn draft
Like, it was
glass
big.
cup. Or no, what is that? It's a flower pot.
It's a flower pot. But the circumference of that flower pot, it was big. Something that I don't know if the human anatomy could handle. Male or female.
He had to be using it, though, because why else would he buy it?
Maybe you just like the look of it. I don't know. I didn't ask him the question. He was taken to the brig from there. And he had a whole ring going on, which kudos to him, because
Oh my God.
he seemed like such an idiot.
Yeah.
But he made it last. I mean, we were towards the tail end of our deployment. So, and he probably would not have gotten caught, if he didn't leave this brick of heroin in the back of his government vehicle. My husband just walked by and he's like, what? We're talking about Smith and this big old dildo. Yeah.
Is he familiar with that story?
Oh, he was deployed too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He was into my unit, but he's very familiar because it was me. It was only my shop that was standing out, and so people caught wind like something's going on right now, and like it spreads like wildfire.
Oh my God!
Because what else do you have to do out there? You can talk. And,
I couldn't contain it. I couldn't contain that. Wow, that's a great story. Holy shit, that's crazy. If you'd like to check out Rachelle's personal blog, visit her website at freedomandfleurs.com, where you can find some of her writing at theenlistedclub.com. She also has an Instagram at freedom.and.fleurs. If you want to see pictures of some of her experiences, you can find them on our website, intheaterpodcast.com, our Instagram at intheaterpodcast, or our Facebook, In Theater Podcast page. If you're digging the podcast, rate it. It helps out. If you're interested in telling some of your own deployment stories, you can reach out to me at intheaterpodcast@gmail.com, or go to the website and fill out the short form in the schedule a chat section. Stay chaotic. Thanks for checking out the podcast, and I'll see you next time.